What's good, YouTube? It's Teflon Poppy, aka the Ghost with the Most, and today I'm super excited because I got my Apple M1 Max MacBook Pro. It's finally here and I've been making music on it for a couple weeks. I've actually had a very pleasant experience. I love it. This Apple M1 Max chip is phenomenal. The computer's actually been holding all of my plugins. If you make music, if you know anything about making music, you know how big projects can be with the plugins, and especially if you're recording vocals or if you're recording guitar straight into the computer. That's why I chose this computer. I wanted something that could run my home studio, but I could also take it on the go and still have a pleasant recording experience or, production experience depending on what I'm doing. Some of the things that I love about this new Apple M1 Max is that it has 3 Thunderbolts instead of 2 like the MacBook M1 Pro. The reason I love this is because, well, for a music producer, I know my last MacBook Pro, since they gave it 3 Thunderbolt ports and they actually gave it a magnetic charger, now I have room for my USB expansion. It has an HDMI port, another Thunderbolt port on this side, which gives me room for my audio interface. The last MacBook Pro, it was stupid because it only had 2 Thunderbolt ports and you needed one for the charger, then you needed one for the expander, which didn't give me any room for my audio interface, which kind of made it hard to make music sometimes. And also my last MacBook Pro wouldn't power my interface up if my removable USB hard drive was even plugged into it. This one actually powers my audio interface up without any issues. Another reason I always wanted to have a Mac in my studio as my main computer is because, well, all of the recording devices or the best audio interfaces, they always Thunderbolt 3. So I really wanted a Mac, that was powerful enough to run my studios, and I finally got one. So I'm going to take you guys through my desktop setup and what I have on my desk and accessories that I have for my music production setup. But before I do that, I'm gonna say, do I recommend having this computer? Yes, I do. If you were thinking about buying it, I definitely recommend it. I got the 16-inch version because, like I said, when you're making music, if you know anything about making music, you can have a lot of plugins and a lot of windows. Like you got your playlist, your mixer, and all of that stuff. And sometimes if you have the smaller screen, like the 14-inch, all that stuff kind of gets hard to see and it gets jumbled up. So I went with the 16-inch version. But the only issue, I've had one small issue with it. It shut off on me like once or twice, and I saw others on YouTube having issues with the same thing. But hopefully the next update fixes all that, man, because you spend this much money on a computer because these things aren't cheap. You want it to work right. So now I'm going to take you guys through my desktop setup and show you all the accessories that I have here. So let's get into it. The first thing that I'm going to show you is that I have the Apple Magic Keyboard. This is actually one of the best keyboards I've ever used. It's really flat, but the keys are still responsive, and I just love this keyboard. I really do. This Magic Keyboard is amazing, especially like with the screen setup that I have here. The keyboard, screen setup, it's really amazing. The Apple Magic Mouse, yeah, not really my favorite mouse, especially for the way, making music. It's just I tend to click and drag stuff in the wrong place all the time on accident. It's kind of annoying. The interface that I'm using to connect my studio monitors, Universal Audio Arrow, which I've had for a while. And if you're thinking about getting anything Universal Audio, like a Universal Audio Arrow or the Solo, and they even make another one, I can't remember what it's called, but I know it's only like $139, and I'm actually surprised that they really did that. But this is my favorite interface that I've ever bought, hands down, and I've had about 6 of them, so it's my favorite one. I'm going to move over. So of course I have a 5 terabit hard drive because this has 1 terabit, but between all the music program and just saving all my music, finished projects and unfinished projects, yeah, you can use up a terabyte of storage really quickly. So next we're gonna move on to MIDI device. I'm not really gonna spend too much time on a MIDI device. You can pretty much, choose any MIDI device you want. I have this one, the drum pad, because I don't really play keys. I click all my notes in. That's just the way I make music, because I know music theory. But I do have this Akai MPD 226 out because I like it for sampling. To me, using a drum pad sampling instead of just clicking the sample in the DAW, it just gives you a live feel to the sample, and I just tend to come up with better cadences on the MPD 226 than I would just trying to click it in or just play it on this keyboard. But and the studio monitors that I have, the Atom A3Xs, I do have a pair of Yamaha HSAs that's not in here right now because I really want to get a pair of Atom A7Xs. Yamahas, they're just exhausting to the ear. If you know anything about studio monitors, they really are fatiguing to the ear. So Atoms are way less fatiguing because of this silk ribbon tweeter. I actually did a review on those if you guys want to check that out. And I forgot one more thing. This is actually a Mackie Big Knob, and what I use this for is so I can switch between I use this to switch between sound sources. So like if I'm playing my PS5, I can have the sound from my PS5 playing, and then when I'm making music, I can have the sound from my computer playing. And you see I have a Samsung 34-inch ultra wide monitor that I have my M1 Max hooked up via HD cable, and of course I got my PS5. I do game, so holla at your boy on Warzone. But yeah, this screen setup plus this Apple M1 Max is actually an amazing setup. The reason I went with the flat monitor instead of a curved one is because, well, for making music, and I'm doing a lot of work on it and not just gaming, so I went with a flat one. And personally, I play first-person shooter games, and I do like this flat monitor versus a curved monitor for first-person gaming instead of a curved monitor. I have played on both curved and flat. I would say a curved monitor is more immersive, but I just tend to do better on this flat monitor when it comes to gaming. So that's just a quick little that's just some insight if you're in the market for a new monitor. But I do love this ultra wide monitor with the M1 Max. It is a beautiful setup to work on, and I do recommend it. And if you want to see more videos like this, more MacBook M1 Max videos or accessory videos, like, comment, subscribe. And if you like any of the music that you heard in the background on this video, it was all produced by me. So don't forget to visit my website, teflonpoppy.com.